is a video about belief and how we arrive at belief and how insidiously, unconsciously we take belief for granted and assume all sorts of things about it that simply might not be true. You have believed too much falseness about yourself. You have believed yourself less than, unworthy, flawed. You have believed guilt and shame. You have believed you are separate from God's love, from the kingdom of heaven, which is nothing but union. These are the beliefs of separation, not the truth of your being. Release them and return to the light already within you. Yeah, you've had experiences. Yes, we've all had experiences that hurt, that wounded us, caused us to somehow retract. But then we turn them into beliefs about ourselves and about the world. You know, a lot of those are inherited from parents' indoctrination or parents' wounding. Our parents' inability to handle their own emotions, their own pain, their own shadow, and their parents before them who came from the time before, who, you know, had no opportunity to deal with the suffering, the pain. And it goes back, right? It goes back into time. And a lot of these wounds that are passed on, inflicted, as it were, you know, not always with maliciousness, but just through unconsciousness itself. You know, often they get interpreted, they either get handed down as a belief, you're not good enough, you're not worthy of love, you're useless, you should be guilty. You know, these really very destructive beliefs. So they can either be handed down directly in a way or installed in us, or else we interpret our experiences. We interpret what happens to us when we're young, and we turn what our interpretation into beliefs. You know, this happened and this happened, therefore I must be guilty, shameful, you know, bad, unworthy. You know, so much of this is just the longing for love, the longing for the union of unconditional love. Amazing, amazing when you really see it, how so much of our agony, so much of our suffering, so much of our seeking, striving, wanting, needing, desiring love is actually really the longing itself for unconditional love. That's what I'm saying in this piece, in this poem, even to the point that through religion, through the fundamentalism of religion, through the absurdity of a lot of religion that externalizes God somewhere over there, which is insane in so many ways and creates such a problem because it puts God out of our reach. It puts the divine, let's say, out of our reach somewhere over there, and then we have to prove ourselves worthy. And you, according to who? According to some, you know, priest or some elevated minister. Come on. This is juvenile. So that separates us, creates this sense of separation. And in this separation, this idea of separation, this belief that is installed in us about separation from the union of totality, from the beloved, from the divine, from God's love, this insidious idea that we're separate from that creates the cascade of human suffering. It creates guilt because we feel like we've done something wrong, because we've been told enough times we've done something wrong. We feel unworthy because we feel locked out and separate from the totality of all things, from each other, from God, from nature, from life, from existence itself. Creates guilt, unworthiness, shame, riddled in some religions. Shame. What on earth is shame? Shame about our existence. Shame about existence. I've never heard anything so ridiculous. And yet there it is, in the human condition, fostered, promoted by religion. I'm not, this is not a video about having a go at religion, but religion plays a big part in this alienated way that we have. It's all become religion now, where we've assumed that we're separate islands in a vast ocean, all abandoned by God somehow. And so we recreate hell on earth, full of suffering. Whereas, in truth, my friend, you're whole, you're loved, you're love, you're worthy, you're not guilty of anything, there's no reason for shame. These are experiences that we have when we're young. The hurt, the wounding, the rejection, but we don't have to turn them into beliefs. They don't have to become a belief. When you see that the belief is just keeping you imprisoned, and you start to realize that actually the fact that you're here means that you're worthy. The fact that you're in existence means that you're a child of God, a manifestation of the divine itself. You're not even a child of God. That implies something separate. You are God manifested. You are the divine manifested. You are existence itself manifested in form. What's to be guilty of? Nothing. Apart from the human experience, which is fraught with trouble, and the ancestral chain, which is fraught with unconscious wounding passed on from one generation to another generation. But that's that. That's no reason to turn it into a belief that of self-attack. No wonder there's so much autoimmune disease around, not just because of the food and crap like that, but actually because we're full of self-attack. The nature of autoimmunity is self-attacking self. Well, we're pretty good at that. And it's so unnecessary. So we have to see that as a doorway. Self-attacking self, there's no healing in that. There's no love in that. It's just a perpetuation of the same trouble, of the belief that we live in a really hostile world, and we need to keep ourselves separate and in fear all the time. As long as we're in fear, we're small. As long as we're filled with shame, guilt, self-attack, we're small. And we can never rise into our authority in that way. And this is the time. This is the time now to see those insidious beliefs and to challenge them within yourself. Whatever belief you have, and they're all in there somewhere, either on the surface or deeper down. And you just have to kind of get to them and see, yes, I carry shame, yes, I carry guilt, yes, I carry unworthiness. And to challenge it, to challenge your belief in it. What makes you believe that you're unworthy? Well, my mother and my father and the nature of the conditioning. Yeah, okay, well that's, that's a tough call. And they do that, and that happens. But to see it more logically, to see that you've allowed that to define you, and that bypasses your natural intelligence, your innate authority. Authority, inner love, inner wholeness is not given by some human being, and it's not taken by some human being, whoever they are. It's innate. Innate means it's innate. Innate means it's hardwired. Innate means it comes with the package. It comes with the being born into existence. It's nothing to do with arrogance, nothing to do with ego, nothing to do with anything. To do with anything that can be given or taken away. But it gets veiled. That's why I talk about the veils all the time. So listen to that. Listen to this. This is really important. Because as long as we're giving ourselves over to in these insidious, destructive beliefs that are installed in us by God knows where, and who knows who, and we just believe them blindly, then we'll never rise into our love, never rise into our peace, never rise into our authority. And by that I don't mean doing things in the world, I just mean being who we really are. Being the truth of who we really are, and letting ourselves shine into the universe like a star. I mean, the stars that we are all like, oh, better not shine too much, and waiting to be given the authority to shine. And you're a star. It's your purpose, it's your job. It's your duty, your divine duty to shine. And let nothing like shame, guilt, unworthiness, all of this stuff, don't let that define you. Life is too short to be defined by that kind of stuff. I hope I've made my point. You have believed you are separate from God's love, from the kingdom of heaven, which is nothing but union. It's not religious. It's nothing to do with religion. It is innate. Release them and reveal the light that is within you.